Israel is now ready to engage in negotiation with the Hamas militant group of Palestine. This was emphasized by Ambassador Ilan Fluss in an exclusive interview with SMNI News. Ambassador Fluss also clarified that Hamas is the adversary of Israel, not the Palestinian people. Kai Vilan reports.
Israel is not open to any negotiations with the militant group Hamas. This was emphasized by Israel's ambassador to the Philippines, Ilan Fluss, in an exclusive interview with SMNI News. Ambassador Fluss stated that negotiations are not possible during an ongoing war when civilians are continuing to lose their lives.
This is not the stage for negotiations. We are now still burying our dead. People are still in hospital being treated. We are in a war. The war was initiated and started by Hamas early Saturday morning in the midst of a Jewish high holiday, Simchat Torah, on the Sabbath, on the Saturday, which is a Jewish holiday. So this is not a time yet to talk about peace and initiatives of peace. And I have to say, when you come and suggest, let's talk about peace. Who with? Hamas is a terror organization. Hamas will not, and you've seen the charter, they say there might be a ceasefire with Israel, a temporary ceasefire, but they could never create peaceful relations and recognize the right of Israel to exist.
Ambassador Fluss also mentioned that Israel is preparing for the second stage of the conflict, ensuring that no infrastructure of the terrorist group remains in Gaza. He clarified that Israel is not targeting civilian infrastructures.
We are now in the final stages of stabilizing in Israel and preparing ourselves for the next stage, which is entering into the second stage of the war, which is basically making sure that there is no more facility of Hamas terror infrastructure in Gaza, which will be used to attack the state of Israel and Israeli citizens. Bombing from the air is not enough, but let me say a word about the bombing in the air. I saw before, you showed the footage of the buildings that are being bombed in Gaza. These are not just residential buildings. We are indiscriminately, we're just bombing and that's it. No, we're not targeting civilians. We are targeting specific buildings, and I showed it to the president. Each building that was bombed has an ID, we know what's inside there. And all the buildings that were bombed were all Hamas infrastructure, Hamas facilities. Unfortunately, the Hamas has facilities in mosques, and we saw ambulances.
In addition, Fluss shared that Israel left Gaza Strip in 2005, making it independent from Israeli rule. Israel only provides assistance in the form of water and electricity supply since resources in Gaza are insufficient. The Israeli government also offers job opportunities for Palestinians, allowing them to move freely between Israel and Gaza Strip.
We cannot support the Hamas, but the Hamas took over control in Gaza. They are the government. So as long as the Hamas, it is a very complicated situation, because the Hamas, we don't want the people to suffer. We want the Palestinians, and it's important to say, the Palestinians are not the enemy. Our enemy is Hamas. Not all Palestinians are Hamas.
The current situation in Israel demonstrates the unity of the Israeli people in defending their country. Ambassador Fluss mentioned that Israelis from all over the world, including those in the Philippines, have returned to Israel to stand in solidarity with their government and military.
Life continues, and what we're seeing now is very, very strong sense of solidarity. We can see many Israelis who are coming back to Israel in order to join the military, the reservists. So many of them came actually also back from the Philippines. I mean, they've been here. You know, the Philippines is a very attractive destination for Israelis. Beautiful, island country. We know the Philippines, nice people. So many of them have been also here in the Philippines, and they made the way back to Israel out of patriotism and out of solidarity and wanting to join this war to defend Israel and hopefully finally to eradicate the terror infrastructure which is in Gaza, which is attacking us again and again, but for some reason they decided to go in this unprecedented scale of attack, which everybody says, okay, enough is enough. We cannot continue living like this.
During a meeting with President Bongbong Marcos, Ambassador Fluss conveyed that the president expressed his sympathy and condolences for Israel. They also discussed 2 overseas Filipino workers who lost their lives due to the conflict.
The president was very sympathetic, very warm. He wanted to, I briefed him about the situation, of course what happened in the first few hours, a bit of the background of the conflict. We talked about the chart of the Hamas. And of course the situation itself, it's not in the same scale, but it reminded us of Marawi, because also the Philippines is a country which is suffering from terrorism. So I felt his heart, I felt he's with us, and I think he came out also with a very clear statement after that. I explained to him, of course, we discussed what is going to be the next stage. We discussed the OFWs in Israel. I opened with expressing my sympathy and condolences over the news which came the same evening, yesterday evening, or yesterday morning already, of the 2 OFWs that were identified as dead.
Israel's priority is to protect overseas Filipino workers in the country, and most of whom have been evacuated to safe locations with their employers.
Our approach to the Filipino workers, same as other nationals, is exactly as same as to the Israeli citizens. We will not leave you behind, we will take care of you. So we were helped in getting out 20 Filipinos that were in Gaza Strip, in some of those kibbutzim, hiding in the sheltered rooms, what we call mamad. It's a sheltered room which every apartment has today in Israel. We helped evacuate them in the midst of still fighting and shooting. We helped to take them out. There was one OFW that was injured and he was treated in an Israeli hospital. Others were put in hotels together with their employers.
The Department of Foreign Affairs has raised Gaza to Alert Level 3, indicating voluntary repatriation for Filipino nationals. However, as of now, no Filipinos have requested repatriation from Israel, but there is an increasing number of individuals in Gaza, totaling 70 that desire to return to the Philippines. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, Kai Vilan, SMNI News.